and we're looking at the book of Daniel, as we have done before, and we looked at chapter 5 of the book of Daniel. We saw the story of the king Belshazzar, who took over from his father and decided to celebrate the feast, 1,000 of his rulers. And imagine that within these 1,000, Daniel was not invited as normal. Okay? He was not invited. Well, so. That is the norm, okay? The righteous are not considered when parties are taking place because it is a tradition. And I remember very clearly, some time ago, something happened. That was about 10 or 15 years ago. And, people were like, something is happening, and they were coming to some of us, why were you not there, okay? Why are you not part of this? They said, well, it's news to me. Nobody gave me an invitation, okay? And it was like strange. But when I sat down, after a few years, I sat down and thought about it. I said, this is the norm. This is normal. Politicians don't. Our fathers went through it. We were not around during the time of our grandfathers, okay? Most of us lost our grandfathers before we were even born. But our fathers went through it, and nothing has changed. Okay, there's this tendency that, of course, when democracy came into Nigeria newly, and the church in Plateau State especially, of course, all over the country, in southern part of the country especially, okay, and Plateau State especially, because Plateau State houses a lot of, houses a lot of churches, headquarters of churches, okay, and ministries. And so there was that tendency that, the church was in control, okay, in a place like Plateau State. So the discussion was, how can we now influence politics positively? So there's that tendency to feel that, yes, suddenly the righteous have gotten into the place of influence and power. Like I have said, during the Obasanjo regime, this led to a situation where, during the Obasanjo regime, a lot of church leaders got close to the corridors of power, okay? But nothing really changed. The truth is that the same issues controlled politics all over the world, okay? That is why it's difficult to see a real Christian, somebody who is really devout, in power, okay? It's very difficult. And it is not a new thing. It's an ancient thing. Daniel was not invited when Nebuchadnezzar was having his own party, okay? When he was calling on the magicians to give him the answers to questions. Until the executioners came, Daniel now was thought of, okay? They came to his front door, okay? Okay, so this is the problem. Now, again, Belshazzar has taken over. Daniel was not among the people invited to the party, okay? Until the hand showed up on the wall and wrote on the wall. Then somebody remembered, there is somebody who can answer this question, okay? Of course, the writing was in Aramaic. I was just looking it up. Mene, Tekel Opharsin, okay, was in Aramaic. So this Aramaic was not the language of the Chaldeans, nor the Medes or Persians. Aramaic is a language of the Jews, okay? It's a kind of a little mix between Hebrew and what? Arabic, okay? That becomes Aramaic. So these were people that were actually not very powerful, whether the Arabians or the Jews, okay? Related people. Of course, sons of Esau, okay? Sons of Lot. And sons of Jacob, okay? Yes, these are the three tribes that speak a common language, okay? Which is Aramaic, okay? And so, of course, Belshazzar could not have known the meaning of that writing until Daniel, who was called Belshazzar, was invited to come and interpret it. And it is very, very interesting. I want to focus today on the interpretation of this very writing, okay? You see, we read that when the king Belshazzar arranged his party, listen to verse 4, what he said. He said they drank wine and praised the gods of gold and of silver and of brass and of iron, of wood and of stone. Now this is what happened. What were they really doing? In those days there was nothing like money, okay? Even the coins were invented late during the first century, okay? By the Romans, who started melting this gold and silver and all those things to create coins, okay? At that time there was nothing like that. But it was still currency because they had just discovered the use of metal, okay? Some hundreds of years back. And they began to use metal for war, for building, okay? And many other things. And so that it became currency. So kings invaded other nations just to be able to amass as much of these metals as possible, okay? And because metal made them strong, made them powerful. So they were worshipping these things, money, okay? They were worshipping money. That is what they were doing. And strangely enough, now as I was reading the interpretation of this thing, okay, that says your kingdom has been measured, okay, and you have been found what? Wanting, and so somebody will take over your kingdom, okay. It was actually directly referring to that claim by Belshazzar and his kings, okay, and his officials, that we have money, okay. You know, they were celebrating money. Oh, money, the god of money, okay. So you're like, talk. That writing was directly trying to address that very claim, okay. See what? Measured. It was a financial statement. According to one of the interpreters, okay, that I looked up, it was basically a financial. It is tekel is actually an old version of shekel, okay? And you know what shekel is in Hebrew, okay? It's money. It's the Hebrew money, okay? So in Aramaic it's tekel, okay? So Tekel Opharsin. What many measured your, it's like going to the market and now you have measured, okay, everything you're going to buy. So it's a measured, you are measured, okay, and you've been found wanting. Your money is not enough. You're celebrating money, well, your money is not enough. So your kingdom will be divided. No, this is very interesting. When I looked it up, I was shocked. I said, look, this is just the God of the Bible, okay? That is typical. He was responding in his anger, okay, and in his proud claim as he is God, okay? You are beating your chest. Well, I am even better, okay? I can do it even better. That is what he did. You see, the problem with politics is that the whole claim is about power, okay, about influence, and all behind the fact that there is money. And in our generation, there's, like we said, there's nothing new under the sun. When people start boasting and saying, I have money, it's money that controls it. That is what happened exactly 10 years ago, okay? They said the people that went to the party, whatever party it was, were giving gold phones. I don't know whether it was true, okay? Golden phones. I think they used to call it, that time I think the iPhone came out. Was it new or it was very popular, okay? And they said the people were giving golden phones, iPhones. And you know, the whole claim began exactly this way. So it is nothing new under the sun, okay? But God has a way of coming to say, you are measured. And because of this claim, you have been found wanting. Okay? You've been found wanting. And it's so disappointing that the leaders who perpetrated this thing claim to be Christian leaders. Okay? and still claim to be Christian leaders, and we are still complaining and saying things are going wrong, but we have not gone to the foundation of the problem to solve it. Okay? Still they go back and they bring the same leaders and say, this person come and lead us. Those same leaders were accused of drinking throughout the night, getting drunk. The same thing. Did they intentionally go to read the Bible and say they were going to do it? I wonder. Okay? I wonder. Although I still don't know whether the stories we heard were true or rumors. Okay? But it was all over social media. Say people who went to invited to the party were given golden phones. They drank throughout the night. All those things. So this is what happened. Up to today, the claim is about money. Okay? So they invade countries, they invade one another to amass wealth for themselves. Okay? And at the end, Christians are at the receiving end because we will be persecuted. We were supposed to read Daniel chapter 6. And you see, immediately, Daniel was the next person to fall under the radar. Okay? Yes, he was the next person. They went to accuse Daniel to the new king, whose name was Darius. Okay? And say, look, Daniel is still worshipping the other god. So we Christians fall on the, always are the subject of what? Of the next persecution that comes. After they blaspheme God and God responds, okay, then we Christians are to blame. Nero did the same thing. Nero was busy blaspheming God. Something went wrong in his kingdom. Then he pointed the Christians. All the Christians are responsible for it. So this is the problem, okay? But I want to end by helping us to understand that this God we're talking about is real. Okay? It's real. There is no idle statement. If you make a claim, if you make a boast, he is hearing. If you submit to him, he is hearing. Okay? If you say, God, I repent of my sins and I accept you as Lord, okay? He will hear you. At the same time, if you say, God, I have enough money, I can do and undo, he is still hearing you. Okay? Still hearing you. So he is a real person. Whether in the 21st century or in the first century BC or the first century AD, okay? He hears. He still hears you. He's still the same God. And he responded to Belshazzar this way. Saying, okay, you have money. Well, I have measured the money enough and it's not enough. Okay? It's not enough. So give me my own share. Your kingdom divided. Okay? And another person will take. Immediate judgment. Immediate judgment. So this is the God that we're talking about. Okay? He knows the science. He knows how to measure the things. Okay? Mm-hmm. He's not flabbergasted by your science. No, he's not flabbergasted by your wealth. You are only there because he has given you the power. Okay? And he's still doing it up to today. So this is just the word that I believe that we share today. Okay? And we are talking about the economy many times. Okay? Of the country. Since that disobedience, the economy of Nigeria has been going bad to worse. Struggling. Because the same people have lifted up money. Okay? I say, money is everything. Of course. And when you do that, the person who probably has more money than you takes over. Okay? And because he's not concerned about your God, he's not concerned about your morals, he begins to, do whatever he wants to do. Okay? The wealth of Nigeria is being pillaged and taken overseas. Yes, this is what is happening. Because the leaders of 10, 15 years ago said, we have money enough, and we can do and all we can do. So let us be very conscious about this. And let us not copy their foolishness. Okay? Instead, let us pray to God and let us be different in our own generation. I am David Dungi for you today in Searching the Heart. They are blessed.